You've been dating her for weeks. Everything felt like it was finally clicking. She was laughing at your texts, she was the one initiating conversations. And then, one day, you sent a little too much. A little too soon. Maybe you double texted. Maybe you brought up "where is this going" a little too early. And her energy shifted. Not dramatically, not all at once, just different. She takes longer to respond now. The replies get shorter. And you sit there staring at your phone thinking, what do I say now? Was that something, or was I just imagining it? Why does this always happen to me? You've replayed that last text 100 times. You asked yourself, did I come on too strong? Was I too available? Did I scare her off? And here's the thing, bro. You weren't wrong. You were just doing what most guys do after a girl starts pulling away. But what if I told you that her pulling away has almost nothing to do with what you said? She didn't pull away because of what you did. She pulled away because of what she felt. And specifically, she felt you starting to chase. You weren't the first guy to show interest, but you might be the first guy to genuinely detach from outcome. That's the shift nobody talks about. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what goes on inside an avoidant's mind after you walk away, and why the moment you stop trying to win her back is the moment the real attraction begins. Let's get into it. Mindset reframe. Most guys believe that when a girl starts pulling away, the correct move is to prove yourself, to send one more text, to be patient, to show her you're different. But the real truth is, she's not evaluating your persistence. She's evaluating your energy. See, here's what most guys completely miss. An avoidant person, and this applies to men and women, but let's talk about women for a second. An avoidant woman doesn't process attraction the way you do. She doesn't think, oh, he likes me, how sweet. She feels. She feels a wall go up when you start to need her. She senses the energy shift when your presence becomes dependent on her response. Her gut tells her something is off when you start performing rather than being. And here's what changes everything. She didn't pull away because she doesn't like you. She pulled away because when you chase, you signal that she has something you need. And that collapses something in her. Not because she's cruel, but because avoidant people are wired to run from dependency. It's not a conscious choice. It's a nervous system response. So what does she actually feel when you go silent? Relief. Then curiosity. Then anxiety. And that anxiety, that "why did he just stop?" That's emotional caffeine for her brain. That's when attraction begins. Most guys don't understand this. They think the answer is to send one more message, to explain yourself, to apologize, to prove you're not crazy. But bro, the moment you chase, you tell her two things without saying a single word. One, you need her attention to feel okay. And two, you're not the grounded man she briefly sensed you could be. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding how emotional energy works. And when you truly internalize this, you stop performing and start being. And that's when everything shifts. 7 points. 1. The silence paradox. What most guys do wrong. Most guys see the silence and panic. They send a follow-up within hours. Maybe a "hey, didn't mean to be weird" text. Or they double text the next day with a joke to lighten the mood. They think they're being smooth. They're actually being a rescue mission for her anxiety, but not in a good way. The deeper psychological truth. She wasn't pulling away from you. She was pulling away from the version of you that started orbiting around her. Silence isn't rejection, bro. It's a test. And when you can't sit in it, you tell her you can't sit with yourself. That's what she feels. Not rejection, dependency. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. Hey, just checking in. Sorry if I came on too strong, lol. Right approach. Nothing. Maybe 3 days. Maybe a week. And then you text something casual and self-amused. Like you're thinking of her, but you're also clearly fine either way. What this creates in her. When you go quiet and nothing bad happens, her brain starts doing something strange. She begins questioning herself. Was I reading him wrong? Maybe he wasn't that into me. Why am I thinking about him more now than before? That's the curiosity loop. And she's now chasing the silence you left behind. 2. The identity signal. What most guys do wrong. Most guys interpret her pullback as a signal that they need to change something about themselves. Maybe they think they were too available, so they flip to playing hard to get, but their energy is still anxious underneath. They post a story. They watch her story back. They send something that sounds casual, but reads as desperate to anyone with emotional literacy. The deeper psychological truth. She doesn't respond to your behavior. She responds to your identity. And here's what nobody tells you. A man who genuinely doesn't need her will always be more attractive than a man pretending not to need her. Not because it's a strategy, because it's real. And she can feel the difference between performed detachment and actual groundedness. Her nervous system picks up on it immediately. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach? You post a gym story 3 hours after she stopped replying, hoping she sees it and gets jealous. Right approach. You go to the gym because you're becoming the man who goes to the gym. You don't post it. You don't reference it. Your life is just genuinely moving in a direction you're proud of, and you're not using it as a signal to her. What this creates in her. She sees you living your life, moving forward, unbothered, and her gut is saying something like, he doesn't need me to be part of his story right now. That's not rejection, that's intrigue. And intrigue is the beginning of obsession, not the end of it. 3. The interpretation loop. What most guys do wrong. Most guys spend days in their own head. They overanalyze her last message. They reread her texts looking for hidden meaning. They ask their friends for advice. They post on forums. They spiral. And all of that mental energy leaks into their next interaction. They approach her with nervous energy. Their vibe is off. She feels it before he even says a word. The deeper psychological truth. She pulled away, and you're trying to solve the equation of why. But here's the thing. Her pullback wasn't a message you need to decode. It was a feeling she was having. Feelings aren't data. They don't compute into a clear answer. And every hour you spend trying to figure out what you did wrong is an hour you're not spending being present. Presence is the whole game, not decoding. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. You send her a message that says, "Hey, did I say something wrong? Feel like you've been distant lately." Right approach. You genuinely let it go. You don't attach meaning to it. You go do something interesting with your day. And if she comes back, you receive her back with zero excitement about proving yourself. What this creates in her. She texts you 3 days later, and the absence has done something to her. She feels lighter. She didn't have to confront anything. She didn't have to validate you or manage your anxiety. And now she's reaching out from a place of genuine curiosity, not obligation. That's the energy you want to be in contact with. That's when real connection becomes possible. 4. The outcome detachment test. What most guys do wrong. Most guys have 1 foot in the interaction and 1 foot in the anxiety. They want the girl to like them. They want the date to go well. They want the text to get a response. And that wanting, that attachment to outcome, radiates out of them like heat. It's not something you can fake your way out of. She feels the energy before she hears the words. The deeper psychological truth. Detachment isn't a technique. It's a byproduct of genuine self-trust. When you know, not think, but know that you will be okay whether she texts back or not, that certainty becomes a signal, and she feels that signal on a subconscious level. It's not about being cold. It's about being so internally grounded that her presence or absence doesn't shake your emotional baseline. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. You send a text and then stare at your phone waiting. Your friends see it. Your energy is off all day. You're checked out because you're waiting for validation from a screen. Right approach? You send the text. You put your phone in your pocket. You go live your life. If she responds, you respond when you feel like it. If she doesn't, you genuinely shrug and keep moving. Not because you're playing a game, because you actually trust that you'll be fine either way. What this creates in her. She texts back something small, and she's watching for how you respond. Not what you say, how your energy lands. And when you respond calmly, briefly, like you're talking to a friend and not a prize, something shifts in her. She thinks, why doesn't he seem affected by me? And that's the question that starts the obsession, bro. 5. The absence effect. What most guys do wrong. Most guys who get ghosted or pulled back from will send one long final text explaining themselves. Hey, I really liked you. I'm sorry if I came on strong. I just wanted to say I respect you. They think vulnerability is the move. But what they're really doing is asking for reassurance from someone who already decided to step back. And that text reads as need. The deeper psychological truth. Here's the part nobody talks about. The human brain is wired to value what disappears. It's a cognitive bias called loss aversion. When something is available, it's taken for granted. When it's suddenly gone, the brain elevates its perceived value. And an avoidant person specifically uses this mechanism, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, to keep emotional control of a dynamic. So when you go silent, you activate the same psychological lever in reverse. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. I just wanted to say I had a great time. Would love to see you again if you're free. Right approach. You go completely quiet for 7 days. Then you text something that has nothing to do with the last interaction. Something playful. Something that assumes she's been thinking about you, but doesn't acknowledge it. Something like, "You free Thursday? There's a place I think you'd like." What this creates in her, she didn't expect hearing from you. And she definitely didn't expect you to come back casually, confidently, like nothing happened. Her brain says, this guy doesn't need me to validate him. And that thought right there is what flips attraction from interest into obsession. That's the shift. 6. The grounded response pattern. What most guys do wrong. Most guys either go silent for days and then overcorrect with a big message, or they panic text the same day looking for a quick fix. There's no calm center, no emotional baseline. The responses are reactive, either too cold or too hot. And she feels that volatility. It tells her this guy's internal world is unstable. The deeper psychological truth. The man who becomes truly magnetic doesn't oscillate between extremes. He maintains one steady frequency. He texts when he wants to. He doesn't text when he doesn't. He's not calculating when to reach out. He's just living his life and sharing pieces of it when it feels natural. This isn't a behavior you're performing. This is who you're becoming. And the consistency of that energy is what makes her feel safe enough to actually open up. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. You go silent for 5 days, then send an essay. Hey, I know I haven't been in touch. I've been processing some things. I just wanted to be real with you. Right approach. You just live. You genuinely live your life. You text her when you have something to say that's actually interesting. You don't explain yourself. You don't apologize. You just exist in her world with the same energy you'd have with a friend you're casually into. What this creates in her. When you come back to her life with genuine lightness and zero desperation, something happens. She feels like she can breathe around you. No pressure, no performance. You're just a calm, grounded presence. And she starts to realize that she wants more of that, not less. That's when she stops running. 7. The return of self. What most guys do wrong. Most guys make a girl their entire emotional world. They stop hanging out with friends. They stop pursuing hobbies. They start planning their schedule around when she might be free. They lose themselves in the anticipation of her. And when she pulls back, their whole identity wobbles. They have nothing to come back to. The deeper psychological truth. The strongest thing a man can do after a girl pulls away is to immediately return to his own life with full presence. Not to punish her, not to make her jealous, not to prove a point, but because your life was full before she came into it, and it will stay full after she steps back. This isn't about being unbothered to manipulate her. It's about having a life that genuinely matters to you, with or without her in it. That's the foundation everything else is built on. Real-life contrast. Wrong approach. You spiral. You cancel plans with friends. You sit at home refreshing your phone. You ask yourself what you did wrong all day. You lose sleep over someone who isn't losing sleep over you. Right approach. You go hang out with your friends that weekend. You go to that thing you said you'd do. You remember what it feels like to be present in your own life. And you do it not as a strategy to make her miss you, but because this is who you are when you're living right. What this creates in her. When she eventually comes back, and with this approach, bro, she often does, she finds a version of you who's even more grounded than before. You didn't collapse without her. You didn't orbit around her absence. You just kept becoming. And that, right there, is the version of you she was always attracted to. Not the anxious one, not the chasing one. You. Close. Here's what I want you to take out of this. It's not about playing games with avoidant people. It's not about learning tactics to manipulate someone back into your life. It's about becoming the man who doesn't collapse when a woman pulls back. Because when you stop chasing, you stop abandoning yourself. And that's the transformation nobody talks about. Most guys think the goal is to get a girl to respond again. But the real goal, the deeper one, is to become the kind of man who doesn't need her to respond in order to feel okay about himself. This isn't about memorizing a list. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need one. And here's the thing. When you truly internalize this, something shifts. Not just with women, with yourself. You stop performing. You start being. And that's when everything in your life starts to move differently. So remember this one line, bro. Stop chasing the spark. Become the flame. If this hit something in you, if you watched this whole video and felt seen in a way you haven't felt in a long time, then you know where to go. Go check out the video I have linked right here. Because the next thing we're breaking down is the one behavior that makes women lose attraction instantly, and it's not what you think. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next